What's going on YouTube? This is ParkerLight88 coming at you with another video, and in this video I have my very first Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel deck profile to show off for you guys, and it's the deck that I have been playing for the normal rarity and rare rarity festival, and I've affectionately called this deck GABBAGE after Googly Eyes Drum Dragon. Its name used to be Garbage Eyes Fat Dragon, so the joke between my friends and I was GABBAGE, so that's what we called this deck. And I just want to show you guys what I'm working with for the normal and rare rarity festival and show you guys some duels afterwards. I'm going to kind of do this deck a little bit out of order just to kind of give you guys a better idea of like what the main pieces are, what the supplementary pieces are, and kind of just go from there. So let me know if you guys like this style of deck profile as opposed to just a straight running through all the cards and whatnot. So the first card that I want to talk about is Googly Eyes Drum Dragon. This is the boss of the deck. This is the whole reason why you play the deck. Googly Eyes is a rank 8 Machine Exceeds monster that says that you can detach material from it in order for it to gain 1000 attack for the end of your opponent's turn. But another thing that it does is that if this card is destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can banish one Super Defense Robot monster from your graveyard to special summon him and then attach another Super Defense Robot monster to him as Exceeds material. So as long as you have Super Defense Robots in your graveyard, this guy can have like a million lives, can essentially never die. He has some really neat combo plays with Torrential Tribute, so that is an always fun thing to do. So he's the boss of the deck. To go along with him, let's go ahead and start talking about the Super Defense Robots. So first we have Super Defense Robot Monkey, then we have Super Defense Robot Leo, and then we have Super Defense Robot Elephant. Now, all of these guys have the same effect where if you normal summon them, you can special summon another Super Defense Robot monster or Orbital 7 from your hand. You generally don't do that too much with Elephant, but with Leo and Robot Monkey, you definitely do that a lot. Monkey has another effect for kind of like the mid to late game where it says once per turn you banish a machine monster from your graveyard, then you target one Super Defense Robot monster or Orbital 7 in your graveyard, then add it back to your hand. So in the late game, the play kind of goes like this. You normal summon him, you special summon Leo from your hand. Leo's once per turn effect says that when a Super Defense Robot monster or Orbital 7 is added from your graveyard to your hand, you can special summon it. So you use Robot Monkey in order to get Leo, and then you use Leo in order to bring out Elephant. Now what Elephant does is, as far as his once per turn effect, is that you can target a Super Defense Robot monster or Orbital 7 you control, and its level becomes 8 for the rest of that turn. And you can't summon anything except Machine Exceeds monster the turn you do that. So he's the guy, he's unfortunately a bit of a brick, but you have to run him because the idea is that you normal summon the little guys, get Elephant, use Elephant to turn the little guys into 8s, and then you go for Googly Eyes. That's the play. But the big play that you can do with Monkey, provided that you have the setup for it in the mid to late game, is summon Monkey, summon Leo off of the Monkey, use Monkey's effect, banish Machine, get an Elephant out of your graveyard, then you use Leo's effect to special summon the Elephant, use Elephant's effect to turn them all into 8s, and then if you have like another 8 that you can summon, like some of our supplementary monsters, then you can use that to go for like a double Googly Eyes play, which is actually pretty fun. You don't get to do it too often just because it requires a lot of setup, but that is basically what the big play is. So these three guys are like the main pieces of the deck that make Googly Eyes go, and you always want to summon him out. Now, in order to supplement this, we use some generic machine support, and we use the Machina engine. Let's talk about the generic machine support that we use in the form of Gear Spring Spirit. Gear Spring Spirit is a fantastic card because if you control bare minimum one machine monster in your graveyard, and all the monsters that you have in your graveyard have to be machines, you can special summon him out. Now, because this is an inherent summon and he's not limited, if you have multiples of these, you can drop all of these. So that's some very easy rank 8 plays that you can go for right there. And then he also has another nifty effect that says that you can target a monster your opponent controls and drops its attack to 0. So this guy in and of himself can beat over anything, but in combination with some of your other Exceeds plays like Googly Eyes or some of the other Exceeds plays, you can tack on some really big damage. And if you have an ability to get 2 of these out on board, and you can like make 2 of their monsters 0, which has happened at least once, then that's an OTK right there. So that's actually pretty cool. Gear Spring Spirit is fantastic. Let's start moving into the Machina engine, because naturally the progression with the whole deck being centered around rank 8s and Googly Eyes is that we needed more level 8s to go into. So we're going to start with talking about Machina Cannon, of which we run at 3, and then we're going to talk about Machina Irradiator, which we also run at 3. Machina Cannon is a little bit more generic in that he can pitch any machine to special summon himself. He gains 800 for each machine that you pitch, but you really only need to pitch one because you're just going to use him for Xyz fodder. So we run him at 3, and then we have 3 Radiator. Radiator is, or Irradiator, is a very interesting monster. You have to pitch a Machina monster specifically in order to summon him. So you basically use him as rank 8 fodder in that regard, but he also has a nifty ability where you can target any Machina monster that you control and special summon a Machina monster from your graveyard whose level is equal to or less than that monster. So if I have one of my other Machina guys in the graveyard, so let's say that I have maybe 2 Machinas or 1 Machina in my graveyard already, I can use Radiator. I can pitch Radiator to bring out Posa Storage, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And then Posa Storage can actually get back Radiator, since Posa Storage can actually grab stuff from the grave. So he's a nice combo extender, nice mid to late game card as well, and you use him for rank 8 plays. So you run 3 copies of him. Let's talk about the other Machina cards. We have 2 copies of Posa Storage. As mentioned before, Posa Storage has the ability on normal or special in order to grab any of your Machina guys out the graveyard and special summon to the field defense position, and you use it to basically go for rank 8 or rank 4, whatever you want plays. Now, another neat thing that he does is that you can target another Machina monster other than himself and a spell trap your opponent controls and return him to the hand. So he does negate the monster that you bring out, but let's say that you want to just focus on getting more hand advantage. You can normal summon or special summon Posa Storage, have it grab like Machina Gear Frame out your graveyard, and then as opposed to going for an Xyz play, you can bounce the Machina Gear Frame back to your hand, remove a spell trap, and then you have Machina Gear Frame in your hand, you know, to continue searching for your other Machina cards. So we run 2 copies of him, and then we run 2 copies of Re-Savager. Re-Savager is a really good card because he basically acts like a Collude or an Honest, where you pitch him from your hand, give any of your Machina monsters 12 extra attack, and then if one of your Machina monsters runs over something by battle, you just add him back to your hand. So he's kind of like a perpetual thing that just allows you to beat for really big numbers. That behind Posa Storage makes him 28, that behind Gear Frame makes him 3k, so it's really good. And then of course we have the 3 Gear Frames because it searches for all of your Machina pieces to help you go for your rank 4s, your rank 8s, and for Re-Savager. And I like running him in 2 because if I don't have to search him, then, you know, that's just something else I can look for. So that pretty much does it for all the monsters, and that's how everything kind of works together. Moving into the spells and traps, you can see they're pretty generic, right? Lightning Vortex is the Raigeki of the normal Rare Rarity Festival. MST, back row is a lot more prevalent in this game mode, so you need MSTs in order to remove them. I like Book of Moon. I don't see a lot of people running Book of Moon, but in this game where it's a lot lower power level and Link monsters aren't running around as much, Book of Moon is very integral in, you know, keeping your opponent from, you know, kind of just wrecking your face with their extra deck or any of their powerful monsters and whatnot. So we run 3 copies of Book of Moon. We run 1 copy of Forbidden Chalice. This is new. This is like your Effect Veiler card. This is like your Infinite Impermanence. You target a monster on the field, you give it 400 extra attack, but its effects are negated. You can also use this yourself in order to bump your own monster's attack in order to beat over things. It really just depends on how you use it. We run it at 1. I could run this at 2 or something like that, but I kind of like Book of Moon a little bit better. Just for versatility's sake. So I saw people using this. I didn't even know you could use this card, so I figured I'd try it out at 1. And then of course we got the 2 copies of Torrent. Torrent works out really well with Googly Eyes, because as I mentioned, when you have Googly Eyes on board, when your opponent summons a bunch of stuff to a board or just something that threatens you, you activate Torrent and blow up your board, and then because of Googly Eyes' effect, you bring him back and you put another material under him, so he's got another extra life. So it's really just wiping out your opponent's board in that regard. So we run Torrent at 2. We run Bottomless at 2 just because it's a good generic trap. I can't believe this is a normal, but being able to banish the things you destroy is really good. And then I run 3 copies of Compulse because Compulse is just very, very versatile. You can use it to bounce your own monsters, like I can use it to bounce Gear Frame in order to get more pluses. I can use it to get rid of my opponent's extra deck. And the fact that it's chainable, it's just a good, versatile interruption, the same way Book of Moon is. And then as my own personal tech, because we run so many Xyz monsters, we run 1 copy of Xyz Reborn. And that pretty much does it for the entire main deck. Moving into the extra deck, we already talked about Googly Eyes and run that at 3. The next most important monster you run is number 97, Dragluvion. I don't know how this card ended up being a rare, but it's a rare. So for those of you who don't know, Dragluvion can't be targeted by card effects. You detach 1 material from him, and then you take 2 dragon number monsters with different names from your extra deck or graveyard. You special summon 1, and then you attach the other as material. So you use Dragluvion in order to get out Heart Earth Dragon. Heart Earth Dragon cannot be destroyed by battle, and it has another effect that says during your opponent's end phase, you can detach a material from this thing in order to banish all cards on their field that they have normal summoned, special summoned, or set. So that includes spell traps as well. So if people don't understand how this card works, but they can't play around it, and they set a bunch of cards or summon a bunch of cards, and they don't have a way to get rid of Heart Earth Dragon, they lose their field like that turn. So this combination is pretty crazy and actually pretty powerful in this festival. So those are the main things. We run 2 copies of Thunderspark. It's a beer, but we mostly just use it as a material for Heart Earth Dragon that we summon off of the Dragluvion. The next most important thing that we run is Heavy Armored Train Iron Wolf. This thing can attack directly, and then when it's destroyed by battle or card effect by your opponent, you can add any level 4 machine monster from your deck to your hand. So in those situations where your opponent kind of walls up on you or something like that, or you just need like a niche way in order to end the game, then Iron Wolf can do that for you. Also, I can target any machine monster that I control, so that means 4,000 to the face after this thing's attack. I can just 4,000 straight into you with this thing, so this card is definitely good. Moving into other things, we have 1 copy of Pain Gainer. The only thing we use Pain Gainer for is we can summon Dragluvion, go into Pain Gainer, and then we can go into 7 Sins. Now, the 7 Sins, you can detach 2 materials from it to banish as many special summoned monsters as your opponent controls, then attach one of those banished monsters to this card as Exceeds material, and then if it would be destroyed by card effect, you can detach material from this instead. It's 4,000 over 3,000, so that is another awesome play. I saw somebody play this, I was like, I saw this was in here, but I didn't realize that this was a normal rarity thing, so I was like, how do you get to this? And honestly, that's how you get to it. So another thing you can do is go Dragluvion, into Pain Gainer, into 7 Sins. Speaking of which, let's talk about Malevolent Sin. Malevolent Sin, similar to Iron Wolf, is just another way for you to move stuff out of the way so that you can attack for damage and whatnot. Every time you deal damage with this card, you increase its rank by 3. So if you attack 2 times with this for damage, then you can increase its rank all the way to 10, and then you can just go straight into 7 Sins. I actually did that 1 time, so that is actually pretty cool. Now, the last monster we run is just Rhapsody Berserk, because Rhapsody Berserk is just a good card. You can attach it to any of your Exceeds monsters, bumps it by 1,200, and then you can detach 2 materials from it, 1 at a time, of course, to banish resources out of your opponent's graveyard that they might use later to bring things back or what have you. So he offers some nice versatility in that way. And that does it for my normal and rare rarity festival deck named GABBAGE. Let me know what you guys think of it. Consider giving it a try while the event is still going on, or even after the event ends. If you want to just play around with your friends with this deck, consider giving it a shot if you guys want to do like a normal rare, like casual duel or something like that. I have some duels for you so you can see what this deck is like in action, and that'll do it for me. I hope you guys enjoy. This is ParkerLad88, and I will see you guys next time with future videos.